talking with the legendary IT guy Vadim. How are you,
Yeah.
Vadim?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great.
It's great. Um, so we also have your Cohort SpotLight card featuring on our page. But can you tell us a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So, where should I start? Let's start from like I'm a dog owner. Let's start from the most important things.
You are a what?
I'm
Owner? A
yeah,
dog owner.
dog owner.
Okay.
I'm a product designer and I'm a content creator. And what else? What else? That's probably all.
Okay, I would say you have too many labels to really fit in the boxes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but that's kind of the main three things like dog owner, product designer, and content creator that I'm doing right now at least. We'll see
All at
what's
the
gonna
same
be in the
time.
future. I'm at the same time content creator and dog owner. Yeah, that's
Yes.
that's that's of course, and yeah, all at the same time.
And like recently I just sort of stalked you on LinkedIn. I saw that you have a beautiful girlfriend. And that was in
How
your bio.
how you saw that?
Yeah.
Because I didn't mention her like LinkedIn. Yeah,
You have
I'm
not
also
now.
I'm also proud girlfriend owner as well. So
You're being owned.
yeah, kind of.
So last time I was being interviewed by you, and it's very truly inspirational. Like I started this interview YouTube thing right after you sort of, show me the way on how to do it. And I also see that
It's
right now
great.
you're teaching people how to do UX design. And you have an interest in helping the people with less advantage, for example, disabilities or reading,
Yeah.
like people with reading, disabilities and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what inspires you to take on such a big project?
Yeah, that's actually an interesting thing because I wouldn't say that I'm like doing accessibility stuff, right? That's something I started doing, but then I thought that's a difficult topic. That's a difficult topic to kind of promote and even to sell, because most of the time people are not very. I don't want to say interested, but people don't really usually invest in accessibility. So what I did was I kind of started from like design system perspective because design systems are usually something people like to invest money in, and from design system perspective I'm trying to convince people that because we are already doing design systems, why not also start doing at least some accessibility as well? So even though that's kind of accessibility is my passion, uh, I understand that it's not easy topic to sell. It's not even an easy topic to kind of educate people because it's very kind of theoretical. It's not very engaging, and you need to you basically if I would to make a video about accessibility, that's gonna be like me just talking because it's not very like image based interactive when you can add memes and jokes and all that kind of stuff. So these topics is difficult to get views, so that's why I kind of now I'm moving more towards like design systems, and from design system perspective I'm trying to say, oh, look, you can also, because you're doing a design system, you can also do sub components accessible and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, kind of like that.
So I wouldn't really say it's not anything, it's not, it doesn't have that much of awareness right now, but it doesn't mean, or investor to put in, the capitals to sort of
Mm.
further. And and it once said something, it's just very funny, but, it's to the point as well. Like, he said that only stranger would meet up and have conversation in the restaurant.
Yeah.
He asked Elon Musk, like, why are we going to the restaurant? Like, why are we bother going to a restaurant and eat there? Isn't it a place that strangers sit down and have a chat?
Like ADHD actually is not covered in like standards of accessibility. So you have like even though people do not have awareness about accessibility, we have in EU in Europe, in EU, we have accessibility law, and they also have some form of accessibility law in US and Canada, even though that's slightly different perspective on accessibility. So ADHD is not something that is covered in this kind of laws, but it will be in the next version. That will be probably, unfortunately, will be maybe in like 5 years. Because now we are on the version number 2.1, but basically 2. But something like ADHD and the forms of psychiatric part of accessibility is more covered in VCAC 3, which is actually very difficult to. It's actually very difficult to find a balance between those kind of things, because on the one hand you need to make website good, it attractive, make some interactions and all that kind of things. But for example, if we're talking about ADHD, you need to have content that is straightforward. You need to have bullet points. You cannot have like animation and flashing things, because that will distract people from the content. They actually will forget why they came to the website in the first place. So that's why it's gonna be tricky. It's gonna be difficult, but it's for sure something we should kind of. We should when it comes to accessibility.
Yeah. I mean, with the evolution of human being and, civilization, we used to have less labeling on people with ADHD, and it wasn't like a known sort of, obstacles ages ago or within this decade. It's only made more public or more general, like recently, when a lot of people have this problem with being distracted by their phone or their electronic devices. And do you see that ADHD will be a trend, not as a, disability, but as a trend that, even the non-diagnosed people are now being diagnosed?
Yeah, I can tell you things that I read, but I'm of course kind of not. I'm not a specialist in ADHD. I'm not a psychiatrist, but I believe that not devices actually, but social media such as Instagram, YouTube, what else, like TikTok, of course, they have huge impact on something that we call ADHD. So even though maybe ADHD cannot be like created by social media, I believe it can be amplified, drastically amplified by social media. And I can tell you by like my own experience. I actually read one thing about, I don't remember like the name, but it was something like short-term memory loss in kids, because of our brain get used to like short form of content, which is usually like 1 minute, 2 minutes, and you are scrolling for hours and hours. And young and adults are losing like just short-term memory. And about myself particularly, I find myself that if I'm spending a lot of time on social media, actually on like reels, on shorts and all that kind of stuff, my memory gets crushed. I have such trouble. So now, for example, it's been a week since I have like my social media. I find myself in the strange place where I'm forgetting my thought while I'm thinking it. I'm thinking about something, and just a few seconds pass and I already don't remember what I was thinking. So answering your question, I believe that social media, of course, can amplify something like ADHD. And I also just recently I watched All in One podcast, like recent episode, and Chamat was telling the story of his child. and he was telling about the child was diagnosed with ADHD, and they kind of said that they will not use like medication and all that kind of stuff, and they just blocked any access to like iPads, iPhone, social media completely, and grades and attention just improved in a few weeks. So that's of course something that we need to pay close attention to.
That's actually a significant improvement
Yeah,
in
of course. So
behavior.
yeah, so when again, I don't want to prescribe anything, but I think it's a good thing to have from time to time some form of detox from social media, and especially when it comes to young kids, when their brain is not fully developed, and they are
They'll be so prone to this influence, and they may not even have the awareness as we do, because we sort of have the age where we grow up without it, so we can have a comparison and contrast. Anyway, yeah. So as your classmate and friends, we know that you have sort of described yourself as extremely lazy. How do you make your design for, people like you guys make the design on the internet to shortcut the thought process and the workload for everyone's brain, so then the intention is actually quite good. It's like to minimize the mental workload, so then you be more concentrated in doing some other task that is more of a higher priority. So I see that being extremely lazy is actually a helpful character to have, but
maybe
how do you utilize it?
How I'm utilizing my laziness? I'm not utilizing it. That's something I just have. I'm kind of the thing is, when I'm saying laziness, it's always I mean by that, it's not like I don't like doing stuff. I just don't like doing excessive things. So I don't like doing more than I should do. So if you have, so when you can have a result straightforward, it's better to have results straightforward. And I can give you an example. So I had during my let's say long life, I have multiple like business ideas, and they often the problem the business has when they build the product or trying to build the idea, they have that idea and they are just building the software, building the idea, and spending millions. I've been working with companies that spends millions of dollars.
Go to waste, isn't it?
To then realize that people don't actually need that kind of things. And again, going to one more example, I was working with one company, and I was hired as a UX researcher. And I was managed to save money, like millions of dollars, by doing research, because in the research we realized that they wanted to build application for they want to build some form of like interactive course when 80% is the text. So we did the research, we did the interview, and we realized that people don't actually want something like that. They don't actually want to read, and a lot of information they can find online. And just basically by doing that research that took maybe 3 months, they just stopped that idea. They didn't pursue to build it, and they did an iteration, and they built something different. So they built more mentorship based program when mentors are helping you like one-on-one. So when I'm talking about laziness, it's actually more like I'm trying to save time, money, and efforts, just having a shortcut and test the results. So that's my laziness.
Right. So yeah, I hope I didn't put you off too much, because my questioning style is a little bit sharp sometimes. It's like a double-edged sword. Depends how you take it. So I think you made a really good demonstration to clear your reputation as being extremely lazy. Yeah, good job. And we really do appreciate your sense of humor as well. So, about your journey in streamlining, market trend and figuring out what the customer really want to buy in such a fast changing pace of world that we are living in. What are the challenges that you overcome, and how you sort of establish your current sort of seniority?
I think right now, I wouldn't say that when it comes to like building a design or building a business, you have more thing than realizing what people actually want. So I have simple one task. I need to figure out what people want, and the best way to do that is usually an interview. So you are just talking to the person. You're talking to multiple people, multiple user personas, and you're just trying to figure out what they want. And I would say that's the one thing that I'm trying to focus all my attention. And sometimes, of course, that's not an option for some crazy reason that I cannot understand. But companies don't like to invest a lot of money in interviews for some reason. I don't actually. I try to understand it, but I cannot. But they just do not spend a lot of money on interviews, even though that is much cheaper option than anything else. So usually companies try to, again, that's the thing about laziness. Companies try to overthink some of the decisions. They're trying to do, let's do the survey, let's do user testing. And even though that's the things that they are important, of course, you should think about an interview first approach, because only an interview with a good interviewer you can have a good conversation and get to the bottom of the thing. Why actually people want something? Why people do they actually want the thing, or they want an outcome? So yeah, that's kind of the things I'm most kind of focusing my attention on when it comes to building or designing products. Yeah.
I noticed that you have highlighted a very important point that we are going through during Harvard Business School credential readiness content. We learned about the difference between focus groups and running surveys.
Yeah.
So, like, from what I heard from our conversation, your point of view is that it's necessary to also make sure that we implement focus groups.
It's slightly different. So if we go into example from the Harvard Business School, they were talking about big businesses. So because it's the business program, most of the examples, or not most of the examples, because first examples was actually small businesses, but the examples from focus group and doing survey were done in the context of big corporations. And when it comes to big corporations, that makes sense to have a focus group. That makes sense to have a survey, because you can survey, for example, 10,000 people. If you can get 10,000 people, that's actually a good data. That's actually not only that's good data, that's actually very expensive data. So if you can afford something like that, of course, also with focus groups, if you can afford that, you should absolutely do so. But most of the companies cannot afford that, because I can tell you from the experience that when you're doing focus group, when you're doing surveys in such a volume, the price for something like that goes from $100,000 just to make something like that. So when I was talking about interview, I was talking more about the fact that 80% of the company would benefit from the interview. But if you're lucky one that are in the, Mercedes, Volvo, McDonald's, you can do interviews, but focus groups and surveys probably will be much more beneficial when it comes to ROI. Yeah.
So the examples that you've given are very global brands to your coverage, where it's let's say McDonald's. Like the McDonald's in Hong Kong, we have burgers bun that made from rice, but when
Mm,
maybe in a Western country, it's burger made from just flour, just like bread.
mm.
So I see where your point is. Like, if the corporate size is about like global coverage, then it'd be more beneficial to have focus group to sort of understand the locality of each individual's sector of the
Mm.
market.
That's actually
Yeah.
exactly what the McDonald's is doing. They kind of have a great, I think just a great example for other businesses. So based on their location, they are slightly changing their menus. Even though in every McDonald's you have a cheeseburger, you have a Big Mac. That's kind of the base. But based on the market, based on the research that they are doing, they have slight different variations. For example, in Czech Republic, they have a burger with like crispy big slice of cheese because that's something that in Czech Republic people like to eat.
Let's say if we go back to you, it's your interest of or your scope of work is mostly on basically everyone on the internet. How do you
Hmm.
see structuring the interview or focus group if it's on your discretion?
Yeah, it's I wouldn't necessarily say that it's all people on the internet because it's very much based on the product. So when it comes to McDonald's, I wouldn't talk to all people in the world. I would talk to people interested in McDonald's. So the process usually goes to uh, let's say you have a business. Let's start just a startup so we can kind of understand like the flow of my work. So you have an idea. You have a brilliant idea, for example, for I'm now trying to think anything that I have on my desk. So for example, give me a second. So you have a MIDI controller that's used for like DJ stuff and music production and all that kind of stuff. And you have an idea that you want to have also you want to have also a like DJ set over here. So you would have something like you wanna have something like that and also combine it with this one, right? So you want to have like all in one, and it's gonna be one small piece that you can put in your pocket and all. It sounds great. Sounds great. So now the thing that you should do is I will do. We need to understand like in theory, what kind of people would want something like that, right? So of course that's not gonna be you. I don't know. But I don't know if you're interested in DJing. But that's gonna people interested in DJing, right?
Well, can it
Uh,
be another thing you teach me?
yeah, of course.
Okay, I'll
But
go get the equipment.
so at the beginning, you would start with just a small assumption, with the assumption of okay, we believe that such a device that is portable will be interesting for beginners, right? Because if you are a professional, I would think that you would want to have like massive set to show people that you're professional. But if you're just a beginner and you want to go, I'm now thinking about that idea. I'm thinking, yeah, that's actually a good idea. But yeah, and for example, you want to go to the party with your friends and you have some basic skills of mixing music and you want to just put it in your pockets or in your backpack and have a music for everybody, right? So we have that idea of okay, we have some understanding of people that gonna be interested in such a product. It's gonna be beginners with beginner skills that have friends and going to the party. So the next thing is actually to kind of validate on how people are solving such a problem right now. So, and now I would do a broad search on the internet. Usually, it can be done. It can be done through agencies. You like in any country you have like user research agency that will help you find the users. The problem with the agencies, that's not a problem, that's just a cost of the agencies, because agencies can ask for like up to like $200-$500 per person if they will find it, and then up on top of that you need to pay the person the fee for the time. So you can do that, or you can do, for example, advertising on LinkedIn, on social media, and from the social media they will go to the survey, and on the survey they will have like short screening with 5 questions. The first question will be like your name, your surname, your email, so I can contact you, and then is like how you usually like to listen music, or maybe have you experience do you have an experience in DJing? And based on that screening, I will have maybe 5-10 users. And with that users, I will have an interview. I will ask them just a broad questions on how you're solving that problem right now. Do you have actually a problem? Is it something that you want to solve? Because now I'm thinking about that problem, even though that's kind of a cool thing to have in your pocket and mix music. But on the other hand, you have a phone. Yeah, and you can connect the phone to the Bluetooth speaker, and maybe the result and maybe the outcome of that is gonna be like the same, right? So I would ask person to, if there is something they are interested in, how they're solving that problem. And if I will validate that idea is actually something worth investing more time and money, we would go to more like more development stuff, or maybe probably more design stuff, where I would do like design and some basic landing page prototype, so I can show to the user, okay, we have that product. The product maybe not even exist. So maybe we have like some form of 3D render, and I will show it to them and ask like, is it something that you think is worth like you spending time on learning? So, and from that kind of step by step, you're validating, going deep, and at the end you would build the product, you would build the website, do an advertising with high probability, because before that you did like massive research and validated that that's idea that people would want to buy. So yeah, that's kind of the simple step-by-step kind of process of what I usually do.
So during I just recall what we're learning right now, because it's quite relatable. So I could relate to 2 things. One of them is about the conjoint method in doing survey and the understanding the algorithm on the internet. Definitely the foot track or the footsteps of us on the internet these days is so traceable, and conjoint methods, one way to do it. Interview, as you said, another way to do it, but more of a bigger picture painting sort of way to understand your customers better and how tailor-made it to them. And then the second thing that I'm recalling from what we're learning right now is the ability to show. I think I've seen it somewhere during our course. It's about, you have to demonstrate when you're asking someone about a completely new program or item, you somehow have to demonstrate it or visualize it so then they can make association.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you do when you raise a question on a new innovation that you're creating? How do you persuade people in buying something that they've never experienced before?
Yeah, I'm not persuading them with anything. That's the job of marketers. I'm just doing research. I'm trying to understand if they have a big enough problem to spend money on. So persuasion is actually something that the marketer will do. They will do their own research on how to position that product, how to do advertising campaign. So I will provide them with data and show what people are actually interested in, what phrases or what words they are telling the most, and what we can use or what they can use in advertising campaign.
How do you? It's a question maybe a little bit sensitive, but how do you, if you don't mind sharing, how do you like obtain this information?
Yeah, through interview. So you would do interview. Usually with the interview you have you're recording the interview, so you can have a transcript. Then you're analyzing the transcript, and and you're trying to find the patterns of what people are saying and the words or phrases that people are using to describe the problem that they have, because how the person describing the problem is something that you for sure should be using in your advertising campaign, because that's the language the person is speaking. So so you would have an interview, then you would have a transcript of that interview, you will do the analysis of that interview, you would do the pattern analysis, you would find the themes, you would group themes into more like in the bigger themes, and based on that you would prioritize what are the things that we should spend more time and less time, what thing we can monetize, what we should monetize or should not monetize. If it's but that's actually already a part of the product. So the product and management already doing kind of assessment of if something that person is telling worth investing money in, if we can build that, if we can do like supply chain on that, if it's a physical product. So yeah.
Has there been a time where you are being pushed behind by the schedule because of something random just show up that wasn't mentioned during the interview but somehow show up in the process of creation?
Yeah, always. That's never even though I describe it as a straightforward process. When you're doing step by step things, you usually have multiple things going around, but it also kind of depends on your position in the company. If you are hired as the UX researcher, you most probably will have like straightforward process, because you have a contract, and in the contract you have things that you should do, and that actually doesn't really matter to me if they have some problems laying around and they have some different to do things, because that's not what I'm paid to do. That's when I'm hired as a contractor. But if I'm working, let's say full time, you of course have multiple times I had the thing when you did the research, you did the interview, you did all the kind of things, and then it got deprioritized, and now you're doing different things, and you have like a bunch of data, bunch of analysis that you did spend weeks analyzing, and now it's deprioritized, and now you're doing and you think that that's for some reason got important.
How do you make a decision for trade-offs then?
Again, that's very much depends on my role. If I have the power to decide, I will not decide on my own. That's not how usually teams are working. I would discuss it with development, because they also have their own schedule. I will discuss it with the product owner, with the management. Depends on the size of the team. I may discuss it with like C-level executives, and if that's something we should do or should not do. So that's going to be a consensus on that's not going to be my own decision. That's always a consensus on if we should do that, if we shouldn't do that. And you also have like different roles inside of the companies, and different like, let's call it, permissions inside of the company, and sometimes great points on why you should do something like that. But some manager or director or CEO said that no, we're gonna do completely different things, and that's something that you should kind of live with.
So I'm trying to understand, like, let's say what are the non-negotiable within the design system that we cannot offer any trade-off?
In the design system?
Yeah. Efficiency or...
Yeah, I wouldn't say that you have things that are not negotiable. I don't like to see that from that perspective, because you always need to negotiate. And of course, and when you are working in the product design, you are the person that glue every department together. You're gluing development, you're gluing management, you're gluing like support and marketing. So taking position that you cannot you cannot negotiate something, and that's not a good strategy. You always can negotiate. You
So
always can.
the faith in seeing it successful.
Sorry.
The faith in seeing a product being successful launch is something that you're not being.
That's an interesting thing there, because sometimes successfully launching a product is not the main goal. That may sound counterintuitive, but sometimes you have products that are not meant to be, even though they of course should be like successful, but you may have different objections inside of the company. Sometimes you may have like different politics involved. That person, like some teams want to implement this thing or that thing. So yeah, that you always should negotiate with the person. You always should negotiate with the team and understand where what the priority we have right now, because that can change at any time.
So yeah, I mean, is there any like solid example?
Solid example of what exactly?
Like priorities.
Yeah, solid example of priorities. That's something I don't have like on top of my mind, but I do know that always when it comes to priorities, you can, but it's not always an option. But you always can negotiate with somebody, with the teams. But I don't have on top of my mind like an example from my own experience.
Okay, that's a legitimate answer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. How long have you been having a pet dog?
I have what?
Your pet dog?
7. I think for 7 months. So it's gonna be it will be 1 years old in well, in May. In May, but we bought. I don't like to say bought. We got the dog. We got the dog when he was 2 months. I think.
It's lovely because I
Yeah.
I asked about this because it's on your Cohort SpotLight card.
Yeah, that's an important part of my life, especially now. Because this week I had a crazy this I just had a crazy week, because my dog got some illness, so got the bacteria, digestion bacteria. So he was pooping all over the place for last 3 days, like basically every 2 hours. And I think on Thursday, on Friday, I wasn't sleeping at all, because he had a pain and he was pooping all over the place, and you need to like always control him. But now he's taking antibiotics, and he's like, now he's like maybe 40% energetic, because before that he was like lethargic, no energy at all. He was not eating, and yeah, painful to watch. But now he's okay. That's an important part of my life.
Yeah, I see you as an entrepreneur, and with all this label and hashtag guy, usually get inspired by problems around you. So with the
Yeah.
problem that your dog's going through, does that inspire you to create something new? If you don't mind share like spilling the beans a little bit.
I never thought. You know what? I never thought about it, because even though I'm trying to, let's say I'm trying to build a business, I'm thinking about businesses that I can do something, which is design, because I have experience in design. Because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a veterinarian. I don't kind of. I'm not familiar with the level of problems that I can solve. But on top of my mind, when I'm thinking, what the problem can we solve? What the problem? I have one problem. And I couldn't find a great solution. So the solution is some form of like paper. I don't actually know how it's in English, but some form of paper that can easily, with the paper, you can easily clean everything, because now we're using like paper towels. And when you're cleaning with paper towels, it's like when you had like shit in one place, now you have shit in all over the place, because you're just cleaning it. And when you are using like some like cleaning cleaning wipes or cleaning paper, so basically when the dog poops all over the place, I need to do a lot of steps. So I need to clean it with the paper, because that's the most efficient way. Next, because it smells like extremely bad, then you need to do some cleaning wipes. Then it also smells. Then you do like antibacterial things, because he has an infection, not an infection. He has a bacteria, so you need to clean that, because if he will leak that, he will get that bacteria again. So you need to clean that with like some antibacterial paper. But antibacterial paper, if he will leak antibacterial paper, he will also get sick. So now you need to take one more paper with water. You need to clean that with water, and in order to clean the water, you need to take like dry paper and clean it with wiper. It takes a lot of time. So I just want to have some eco-friendly wipes that can like swoop things easily. So I can. That's one idea. So if somebody's listening, I'm happy to help you with the website design or anything like that, for some supply of wipes.
It sounds hideous, your problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Because of it just when you're looking after somebody or your pet, with this much of steps and consideration, it's just pure love.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think next episode I will be interviewing a product manager, Dominic, from Germany. So I'll see what we can get out of him with his German efficiency and whatnot.
Yeah, I actually find one brand of wipes, but they are selling in US. So and the wipes gonna be, so the delivery of the wipes gonna be much more expensive than the wipes itself. So we need something in Europe.
A good idea.
We'll see. We need to do the research again. Maybe I'm the only one with that problem. That's why you need to have research to understand if other people are also having the same issue, or maybe I'm just missing something. Maybe you just can't clean it with water or any other things. So that's why you need to do research.
Yeah. Like you highlight a really good point on sustainable businesses, is to help people solving their problems. And we are seeing like the boom of millionaires or people making it with entrepreneurship, especially in the USA these days, with the rise of internet. I think most of the reason I'm just speculating is that the culture of encouragement to make, to build your businesses and help out and look after the community. Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely throw out this question and ask our next guest or anybody within our
let me know
our network. Yeah. Awesome. So any advice for people during the Harvard Business School online with similar background as yourself?
My advice would be to understand, to believe in time commitment that they have on the website. I believe they have 180 hours. And I would say you need more. You need actually more. And the thing is that I made mistake. I made mistake in kind of thinking that 180 hours. It's not actually 180 hours, because most of the times when I buy the course or something like a course or workshop, they're usually exaggerating the number of hours in order to kind of sell the course. So they would do like a small course, and they will tell you need to spend 100 hours. So we are providing you with 100 hours of content, and at the end you have maybe like 10 hours, maybe 20 hours to kind of finish the course. So I started the course with idea that okay, maybe it's not like 180 hours. Maybe that's actually like 100 hours, and I will go through it pretty quickly. It's actually not true. It's actually not true. So if you have it, I would say like that. If you have an experience in business and management, I think it's correct to assume that you will spend 180 hours. I think it's fair to say, because a lot of people do have an experience with accounting or analytics, like management analytics. I think that's a fair assumption. But if you're somebody like me, with a design background, without accounting knowledge or management analytics or even like economics or anything like that, that will take you much more time, than you originally anticipated. So my advice would be to strategically think on how much time do we actually have. Can you actually spend like 4 hours a day learning the course and kind of get all the valuable information and get the value out of the course? Because if you're not, that's going to be very difficult. It's first of all, that's going to be very difficult for you, and second, that's going to be like waste of money basically for you. Even though I believe that the course is actually a very good value to money, I think it's a great investment. But if you will not spend time learning, and you will not spend time going through the information and finding information on your own, that's going to be difficult. So allocate some time, think if you can allocate some time, and yeah, that's going to be probably one of the most important advice.
I think sometimes motivation. I do agree with what you say
Hmm.
about this course is actually a little bit underestimating the amount of effort that you actually have to put on it to get
Yep.
good grades. Yeah. But anyhow, I think I would like a advice that I have sort of summarized after being for almost about 90% completing it. Right
Hmm.
now, it's stay hungry.
Yeah.
Stay hungry in every chapter that we are learning, and just sort of manage your own expectation every time. Not be discouraged by a temporary sort of slip, because it happens to everyone. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
have to give you credit on, being so on top of your time management.
I don't know why. I'm very bad at I'm this week I'm very bad at time management. I basically, yeah, I wasn't doing a lot of actually uh, productive stuff because of different reasons. So thank you for credits. I don't think I deserve them, but thank you.
Yeah, I see one I'm like once made a few recording tutorials for people at the same time doing the coursework. It's a lot of unsung sort of effort.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I'm telling that, um yeah, that you should think clearly on how much time do you actually have. If you have like 8 hours a day, if you not have 8 hours a day, so yeah.
So remember last time you asked me about superpower?
Yeah,
What would be your superpower?
let me think.
So I said 2 hours every single day.
Yeah, wait, I think I do. I just don't remember my superpower. Give me a second. I will think. What superpower do I want to have? I'm trying to go through all the superpowers that exist in the world. What I want to have. I probably would want to be super smart.
I think you're smart.
I want to be like the smartest person on the planet.
Who is the smartest person? Einstein?
I don't know. I don't know, but I want to be the smartest person on the planet.
What do
Like
you think are the trade backs?
I don't want to have any trade backs. I want to
You
have just
won't.
that. I want to have just one superpower. I want to have all the knowledge in the world, and I want to remember them.
It sounds like
So
Solomon from the Bible. But he made a trade-off with the devils.
I don't want to
There
have
is
any
somehow.
trade-offs with the devil. I just want to have that superpower. So
Okay.
no trade-off, just a superpower.
Okay. Go big, go for it.
Yeah.
Oh, and yeah, last question to wrap up. It's sort of an invitation actually. So you remember you asked me about anything in aviation
I
in your
actually
last
don't.
in your last and very first, well, my last but first podcast featuring on your channel. So you wanted to know stuff about aviation, and I'm telling you
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I'm telling you that.
Yeah.
My friend and I are launching a aviation channel. Would
Woo!
would you be interested to join us and ask any question that you want to ask?
About aviation?
Yeah, because
Yeah, for sure.
we're running out of brain energy to think of what people don't know.
Yeah. You wanna have it like a podcast, like something like that,
Yes.
or
Yes.
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Wonderful. See, everybody, Vadim is very open to collaborate, and
Yeah.
yeah, always our favorite. Wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right, I'll just cut it off from here with the recording.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
We probably should have said like
Bye.
bye. Smooth transition.